Hi everybody, very good morning. Welcome back to Carnation Crafts TV. Thank you for joining us if you watched the first show. A very busy show it was as well. This is our first day, our first launch of the brand new collection for 2024, and it's going down a storm. You're all in the mood for this, which is absolutely brilliant. It's called Floral Dawn, and we'll go through all the dies you're going to get in just a second. But before we do that, take a little look at this. This is some of the fantastic cards that the design team have done. I think you're going to like these. Impressive, eh? What a wonderful collection this is. Now, thinking after New Year and after Christmas, you may be looking towards the next major season of the year. You're thinking spring maybe, time to get onto my spring cards, my Easter cards. If that's the case, then this is going to tick every single box, but of course all year round as well. So the collection today is, I've got really good news actually, you're going to be saving £40 off what the price should be. It's worth, and it should be, £130.95, and the usual price today is $99.99. Now, if you order it right now, on the launch day, we'll give you an extra discount, 10% down to $89.99. Now, in literally one live show at 9 o'clock this morning, 40% of the entire stock has gone. We did a little Facebook Live with Carla yesterday evening. That's when a lot of you come in. You get the sneaky peek and think, right, I'm going to order it now. Now, the thing about ordering from Carnation is that it is instant. You basically pop it in your basket on our website and check out. The guys get your order instantly. They pack it, and very often it's with you the next day, if not the next day, the day after. So if you've ordered it already, sit back, it'll be with you soon, but enjoy the inspiration from Carla right the way through today. We've got a show at 11 now and another one at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Take a little look though at the collection. The heart of it is this elegant foliage card shape, and if I just hold up this card done by Sue Dalrymple. Hello Sue, good morning. Look at that as a card background. Isn't that spectacular? You can use it on the back of the card, you can use it on the front of the card. I've got another card here that's using it in a different way. I'll show you that a bit later on. But it is the most magnificent card shape. But what I think is so different about this collection is the fact that you've got this three-dimensional projecting verse and word. So it can be flat for postage, very clever, but then it becomes this wonderful three-dimensional sentiment in the centre of the card. Now, that's the heart of it, and that strip, by the way, that strip die that you can see there, that's what's going to give you the mechanism to make the word stand out, or it could be the actual flower stand out. You could put anything on it you like. Then you're going to get all the words. Now, they're going from top to bottom. You've got celebrate, you've got engaged, you've got birthday, you've got enjoy, and you've got love. Over the other side, you've then got these fantastic flowers. Just look at this. This is the burst of blooms. All the artwork, by the way, for this, we'll talk about in a second. The vignettes are on the website now for you. On the second step, you've then got, this is where I think it comes into Easter and spring. You've got the blue tits there, and you've got the most adorable little white rabbits as well. And then next to that, you've then got your raised above. Now, the raised above, you've got some, obviously, kind of pebbles and slabs for walls as well. You've then got that lovely heart-shaped foliage die there as well. So you can again build that scene and add to that scene very, very easily. Let me just show you some finished cards quickly. I mean, this one, totally different. Using the actual flowers as the card base, I think you'll agree, that is really, really effective. And again, using that mechanism that's in the main card shape to create that three-dimensional enjoy. This is another one, similar but different. With again, this time you've got the word love in the centre. That's the one I think Carla did in the first show, actually. Yeah, that is your card.
It could well be, yes.
Yes, I think it is. And then think about how else you can use this collection as an easel card. Who's done this one? Barbara Trebwell. Hi, Barbara. Spectacular. And again, using the words and snipping the letters to create that semicircle down the bottom there. A couple more. So you can make them very, very elegant and very sophisticated and very flamboyant. You can also make them very, very simple and clean cut if you want to, like this one here from Lavinia on the design team. Here's another simple clean cut one too. Isn't that beautiful? Janine's done that one. And again, going a little bit more flamboyant, this time using pearlescent card. This is one of my favorites. I love pearlescent card. Can you see the shimmer on the foliage on that, and also how much the word birthday stands out with the mechanism. So this is your main collection. 40% has gone in one live show. So between now and 2 o'clock this afternoon, what are we going to be left with? Will there be any stock for tomorrow? That's the big question. If you want to order it, then the easiest way to do that is carnationcrafts.co.uk. Go there, pop it in your basket, $89.99. We do clear pay, and we do PayPal Pay in 3 as well. It's free P&P because you're spending over £50, and it will be picked, packed and dispatched all in a matter of moments or a couple of hours. It should be with you, if not tomorrow, the day after. Very, very quick delivery with Carnation. We also have another card shape which isn't in the collection but works really well with the whole theme of this. Let me just quickly show you these to give you a chance of putting that in your basket as well at the same time. You're actually getting 2 card shapes with these, the fine leaf card shapes. You've got the beautiful wreath circular down the bottom, and you can see all those different dies for mats and layers to get dimension. Absolutely spectacular. And then the one at the top there on its side is like a foliage archway. Now that could be, when I saw that, I thought, you know, a couple getting married underneath the archway. You could put little characters inside there, stags, little rabbits in there if you wanted to as well. Both of those together are available for £49.99, and that item is 240107, but they are spectacular. Carla's here, Taz is here, we're all here. Get involved, message us via Facebook or YouTube, and I'll give you a little bit of a shout out a bit later on. All right, love.
Hello. Lovely to have your company. So we're going to have a look through the boards and look at this just exquisite collection and how we're going to build that into our cards and our crafting. It is absolutely glorious. We start off with your beautiful foliage card shape, which is just stunning, isn't it? It is all of the elements that are eye-catching but also not dominant. So they don't dominate our card. What they do is provide this stunning background to it, elegant foliage, and that's exactly what it is. So you've got your card base, then we've got our mats, we've got our layers, and we've got our foliage on here. You can use this in halves, you can use the full card shape, you can create easels with it. We can fold it obviously on the horizontal as well and use it in that way, which is super pretty. But it comes with these 2 extra pieces, and these fold into small boxes. On here you've got these little compressed holes, and on the other side of that they come out as little dimples almost. And so when we put them together, they are incredibly strong and robust. That means that we can use them and we can fold them for postage, but they will still stand strong on their own. They're a real supported, you know, they support themselves. They're beautiful. It's only 1 die, but it cuts 2 strips, and often you're going to use both strips, especially if you're using your long line sentiments. Inside we've got all of your nested pieces as well. These are brilliant for holding your sentiments, for holding florals, for pushing everything forward, and they make really nice borders as well on cards. They also, if you want to turn them, create extraordinary belts across your card. So if you want to do a belted card shape, you absolutely can with these, and they look very, very beautiful.
So elegant. That's what I love about it. So fine and delicate. Beautiful.
I love chunky stuff, so I really love the chunky foliage, but I love the fact that it's mixed in with really delicate elements as well, so you get best of both worlds. So visually it's very, very strong. From there, we move on to your upstanding sentiments, and these are just clever. They're just clever. First of all, because of the fact we're getting engaged, celebrate, and birthday, which are 3 very, you know, occasion-specific sentiments, and then we get to generalised sentiments. We can use them across all of our crafting, which is very nice to have.
I know in the last show we had some requests for maybe other words, like a masculine word or an Easter, possibly.
Yeah,
we could feed that back.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's nice. It's just a lovely font to play with. I'm sure, you know, Carnation are very, very good and very strong at when you guys say, well, we would like this, they're very good at bringing us extras as well. So maybe down the line, if Nick gets time, God love him, I don't think he has much time, but if he does, he will always try and accommodate our requests as crafters. So we may well see that coming forward. In each one of these, a snip line has been created, so you can cut into them if you so choose. They've got these little circular points, which actually give it quite a nice Art Deco feel. There's something along those lines. But we can use those to put flowers on if we want, and it gives us a point to do so. Or we can leave it exactly as it is, and it's perfect exactly as it is. It's up to you. It's got the matte layer. This is really important to lift and impact those sentiments. More so than ever with these, because we can use the 3D elements as well, so it really pushes them forward, and they're stunning. Beautiful font, always that gorgeous Roman font that's been used, so they're really, really impactful. look at these. We've got our little Dawn friends. So we've got the blue tit and the rabbit in different poses. So you've got the little rabbit here, obviously. He's sitting, he's ready to go. He's got a beautiful little bent ear. So those details are the details that matter. He's got the little doleful eyes. Then we've got your little blue tit, who's very busy looking around to see what's happening. They've got very sort of lifelike characters, haven't they? You've got your profile here as well. This has got to be the cutest little thing ever, with his little tummy all ready to be shaped out to give it that bulk that just makes him adorable, doesn't it? Then this one, who's just very, he looks like he's heard something and stopped what he's doing.
Inquisitive.
He is, isn't he? Very curious little bunny here, very sweet. And then obviously a blue tit, obviously in profile, but with a different sort of expression. This one's looking up. Why is that important? Why is it important that we've got one sort of looking across and one up? Well, it's important for composition. So if you want to put something at the top of a card and this one's looking up, it's going to guide the eye of the recipient straight up to where it's going. This one will go across. So it does matter in those ways, and those things are very well thought through by Carnation and done on purpose. We've obviously got your rising above as well. This is so pretty. I love that. That is just really stunning to me. This intertwined love heart branch that comes through. Very unusual, very pretty, but also fairly iconic. So it can be used time and again in different cards that we make for different occasions. It's beautiful for sympathy. It's beautiful for weddings and engagements, new babies. This really does cover all of those occasions. You can snip into it. So if you don't want quite so many branches around the outside, you can snip them away. The same being that you've got the tall growing branch as well. If you want to snip down these two lines at the bottom, you would then be able to sort of build them up. So you can create something that's much taller. It depends what you want to do. You've got the two walls here, which are stunning. I love stone walls anyway. We played with this in the earlier show. Putting this on foam tape in front of the other will give you a really nice height and definition. They can be cut into. You've got cut lines across all of them to give you that snippability. So you can cut straight into them and build up, build across. The easel card that Dave was showing us a minute ago has got a great use of the wall, where you see it being built across to create a much broader span. And that's something that we can do with our card makes, and certainly with these walls we can start spanning across to make a much wider wall. So it works in those ways. Just really, really pretty. But burst of blooms, Dave.
Yes, enter the flowers. Now remember, all of this artwork, we'll tell you how to get it. It's all free. You can print it off right now, but look at that spectacular display of flowers.
Well, you can see this is representative of the metal that you're getting. So when you receive this, this is what your metal will essentially look like. It's an extraordinary die, isn't it? Beautiful use of florals, and Carnation, I think, do florals better than any other company, and I'm allowed to say that without bias. They are just very clever with florals. Everything looks desirable. It always looks like it's off some kind of romanticized tin from the past. They're stunning.
But the colours are so rich, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're
they
vibrant
really,
at the same time, but rich.
They know what to do, you know, and they know how to do it. And the cut line details, so things like these where it comes through and you've got so much detail in it. Every single one of those white lines, down to the tiniest little dots to the big lines in there, are designed on purpose to become a metal die, and that's why we get the compression. It's why we get the individual petals and everything else that goes through on a Carnation die that we've all become attuned to and accustomed to and now rely on to create amazing cards.
Well, hello to all of you on Facebook to start off with. We'll do YouTube a little bit later on, but Linda McLeod says hello all again. Hi Linda. Anne Hardy says, I've just been watching the first show. What a lovely idea with the sentiments standing out. Trying to think of how you'd use this on a man's card without the flowers. The great thing about the mechanism, Anne, is that it can go on any card. So, you know, whatever design of card you're making, the sentiments can go on that. So it doesn't have to be flowers that's behind it. It could be a garden shed that's behind it or something like that. If it's a fella, or it could be a racing car behind it or whatever you want. Umberta, hello Umberta, good to hear from you. Good morning, Carla and Dave. Already placed my order, cannot wait. Suzanne Page says, good morning, Carla and Dave and Miss Taz, watching from my lovely warm craft room. That's nice, Suzanne. Great to hear from you. And Annie Foxall says, hello everyone, just back from water aerobics. Lovely
Sounds
collection.
very energetic, Dave.
Well, yeah, in the water it would be easier, wouldn't it? No.
I'm not very good at swimming.
Aerobics without the water, no. With the water, yeah. Give it a go.
I have a fear that I would, you know, not fare well. My father, when we were children, threw us all in the deep end to try and make us all swim. And both of my sisters swam to the other side and I just sank to the bottom. So water's not really my thing. So we have also got 2 extra card shapes that come as one die for you as well. And these are very beautiful. You can see it just next to me. It's the fine leaf card shapes. And so this is not part of the main collection. It is separate, but it is very, very beautiful. It's done with a varying degree of filigree. So you get a really extraordinary sense of flow, because when we start to see foliage going round, you follow it, don't you? There is a cycle going on in this card, so it's visually very pleasing. You've also then got your inserts as well, so the extra foliage on the top. We've got a card base, Matt's layers foliage, and then it goes again. You get a repeat of that. Now the reason that's so cute is we can use this as a card shape on its own and do some little minis. So you think about, we were talking a minute ago about masculine cards. If you were to use just say that little insert piece here, along with the long line of upstanding sentiments, and do those in, for instance, say black card, you would have something very masculine very quickly. So you can obviously change these around to whatever degree you wish. But it's not the only one. That's going to be brilliant for easel cards, and it's going to be extraordinary for lots of others. But this...
Think of it in green and think of it in craft cards.
Absolutely,
Amazing.
yeah. The amount of different ways we can play this for your apertures to look into that forest scene. And again, masculine cards, add a stag to that at the back of it, and you have got something very masculine, very beautiful. If you pair this with sort of variant, different aspects from different collections that we've had from Carnation. So one thing I'll say when we've been talking about masculine cards, and you know, a couple of people have said about masculine cards this morning, Carnation never produce collection after collection after collection. They produce one collection, which is the first collection you buy, and everything else goes with it. So yes, they come out as collections, but it is one massive playground. And so we pick from all of the collections that we've had in the past. So please don't feel like you're limited to just playing with the collection that you've got. If we can expand into where it goes, so things like Wonderful World, where you've got the cars and the trains and all of those things, this mechanism is going to be incredibly important with those things as well. So bringing all of those aspects together, you'll find different ways.
I mean, looking at that, I'm looking at like a forest or a glen, also maybe a pagoda, if you're thinking like a wedding card. So, you know, it's got lots of potential. You could put animals in the middle of it, you could put people in the middle of it.
Yeah, so you've got all of these elements. I mean, Adventure Awaits as well. I can see a lot of elements from that collection coming through here. Card base, Matt's layers, this obvious, beautiful tree line that goes into that stunning archway. So things like Wonderful in White, where you've got the wedding characters, they will sit inside here as well. These insert pieces can be used as layers as they are here, so you get that dimension, but they can be used as apertures, so everything can be raised and you can look into this card shape as well. So you're telling a story with a background and you raise it up with foam tape, or indeed raise it up with your little boxes from the first card shape. You can raise these backgrounds. If you create an aperture here, you can raise this whole background piece with these and they will fold flat for postage. So you're not just you know, sort of set with the dies that we've got. You can use them for your card bases as well. Absolutely extraordinary.
And of course, because the leaves are the same design as the leaves in the elegant foliage card shape you're getting in the main collection, it all kind of ties together beautifully, just a different shape. So if you want those on their own, they're separate to the main collection today. They're $49.99 and you get both the round and you get the archway, and that's 240107, your item number, 240107. And a quick word as well, while we're at it, about the Perfect Papers. Now, for those of you that are new, and we are very well aware that we're getting new people all the time finding us at Carnation Crafts TV, Perfect Papers is 300 GSM cardstock, okay, so it's a really, really good weight cardstock, but they're always produced in colourways that work with the artwork, so you're never going to get any colour clashes. If I just at random pick up this card here from Sue Dalrymple, and again, Sue's used the mechanism that pops up the words to actually project that floral arrangement with a little bunny forward. So you can use that mechanism in the main elegant foliage card shape for different effects very, very effectively. But if you look at the colours in there, the yellow, the flower, the pink, all of that, then obviously these colours are going to work and complement that card beautifully. So you can't really go wrong. And for the sake of $14.99, it's just such a relief to have in your craft room cardstock that's been designed with the collection in mind. Okay, so it's $14.99. 240108 is your item number, plus your P&P if you're just buying that. But if you're buying it, of course, with the main collection, that will be delivered to you free of P&P if you're in the UK. If you're in the US, then obviously if you want the collection, it's $5.95 for you shipping and handling. $4.95, sorry, $4.95 shipping and handling. And if you want to go for the perfect papers, then that will be $14.95? $14.95 shipping and handling, obviously because of the extra weight, but we can do that for you, no trouble at all, if you're watching in the USA. The only other thing to let you know about is the artwork. Now, all of this artwork on all of these finished cards have been printed off from Carnation Crafts website. Okay, now it couldn't be easier to do that. You're on the website now purchasing this. When you've done that, why not just go to where it says downloads? So it's carnationcrafts.co.uk for the website. Go to downloads and then click on free downloads. It will take you then to the latest artwork release for this collection, and you can then print them off as many times as you like. And I know we've had some questions about this. The artwork is always going to be on there. You've also got some backing papers on there too, which will coordinate beautifully well with the artwork too. So you can enjoy all the artwork this afternoon. Do it right now. And then when your dies arrive in the next day or two, you can then start to cut them out. But they'll always be on Carnation Crafts website going forward. All the previous collections are there as well, so it just keeps being added to. It'll always be there. So carnationcrafts.co.uk, and then just go to downloads, free downloads, and enjoy printing out the artwork there and then. And I'll show you quickly a couple more cards. I wanted to show you this one because this one I wouldn't have thought of doing, but it works. This one's done by Lavinia in our design team, and what she's done is rather than having the flowers on the front of the card and the leaves as a background, she's put the leaves in the foreground and the foliage and the flowers behind. And I think that works really well as well. Do a reverse one with one of my favourites with that wonderful pearlescent paper. And again, if you wanted to do different coloured cardstock for the foliage, you've got that option. Using one of the perfect papers behind, a very fine light green stripe behind that foliage is beautiful. And that's actually not been risen up, that's just stuck down onto the flowers. So that's not using the mechanism at all. So it works in lots and lots of ways. I'm a big fan of the top to bottom words actually.
I know, it's actually, I think I didn't realise how impactful it would be until I started playing with the collection, and I was suddenly kind of bowled over with it really, because I think we're so used to seeing sentiments that go in one direction. We're used to using them, but I think because they're so bold, it's such a beautiful Roman font, they make an extraordinary difference, right?
And if you're using that fantastic card shape, the round wreath one, as a base or as a main part of the card, you know, they work together so well, whether you're just using them as mats and layers or whether you're using the intricate foliage part of the die, everything. And that's the one you talked about with
the wall, where you build across on the wall, so you get to see that as a whole as opposed to little pieces. You get to build it however you want to build it.
So think all year round, but also specifically think Easter, Easter bunnies, spring. This time of the year it's all dark and a bit dreary, and after Christmas and New Year everyone's kind of a bit so yeah, these are going to raise your spirits. Beautiful florals, wonderful characters, and a great price if you order right now. Remember, at the start of this show, 40% of the entire stock of this collection are gone. So we do 2 collections launching here a month at carnationcrafts.co.uk on the website, and of course on Facebook and YouTube as well. If you register and subscribe with YouTube, you'll never miss a show, because it will just kind of alert you to the fact that show's on the way, which is something you told me about, which I didn't realise.
We had a little chat, didn't we, Dave, about YouTube, and it just helps out if you, well, it helps Carnation as well, funny enough, but for you guys, it just, when we don't post at 3 in the morning, so it's not going to wake you up or anything like that. It doesn't cost to subscribe either, which is always nice to know, right? With nobody likes hidden costs. You won't miss a show. But also, if you hit subscribe, it will show up in your YouTube feed. Right, so I'm going to have a look at one of the extra card shapes. So in the last show, we did the circle and we did the main card shape from the collection. This is the other one from the fine leaf card shape. So we're going to have a look at this one just now. So you've seen all 3, and I know you've had a visual on all of them. So I've cut it twice, scored. This time I've scored up more than ½ an inch. This one's going to be just over an inch, maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. And that's because I want my strength to be a little bit longer. If I just score it here, I'm not going to be guaranteed the same strength, so it's just going to give me a bit of extra oomph. I can remove that again, place it towards my body, put the 2 pieces together and shuffle, get them where I want them to be, lay them down and push, and that's my card base all sorted out, so nothing complicated there. I'm going to come in with some perfect papers. Now for this one, I am using the dotted perfect paper in the yellow or the cream honey tone. And it's just a very, very beautiful piece. And you can see while you're looking at that on the screen, it's not particularly defined, that pattern, but it's enough to give it textural strength, textural detail that we need.
It makes it look almost like fabric.
It does. It gives it a really nice, almost vintage feel, which is really, really sweet. I've got to say the perfect papers in this collection are extremely strong. It's a beautiful set of perfect papers. I've always loved the perfect papers, but every now and again there's a colour tone that just pleases me immensely, and this is one of them. Please do pop those into your basket. They will be your best friend throughout your crafting. Everything is colour picked. So I'm just going to place this on top, push and pull to get my placement correct.
And also the feel of a card when you're using the perfect papers for matting and layering. There's no other feeling like it.
They become chunky, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm going to offset this with a white. This is a 350 GSM cardstock, and it's the smooth cardstock from Carnation. And the reason I often go to this, you're not going to be able to particularly see it on air as well as I would like, but right on the edge, when you use a 350 GSM, what I get is a compression from the die, and this is to do with the quality of Carnation's dies. Now the compression is so strong on their dies that I get this beautiful rounded edge, and it just follows that pattern. Can you see it?
Yeah, you can see that.
Just
really clear.
Somewhat sort of embossed. Now when you do that on a strong card like a 350, which we often don't use for mats and layers, we'll often go down a level to maybe a 240 or a 120, we get a stronger sense of that. Not only is the card stronger, but also we get this really beautiful detailing around the edge, and visually it does make a difference. So I do tend to always do my mats and layers on a 350 when I'm using white. And when I'm using a colour behind that's quite strong, I will tend to always cool it with a white tone. Now I will say as well on this particular collection, I don't think I've done one card without bringing in one of the blush papers somewhere in my my card making, because those blush papers work so beautifully with this collection. Now we've got 3 different blush papers to choose from. So we have got the blue, we've got the pink, and we've got the natural, which I always call vanilla. For this one, I've gone with the natural, and I've got the yellow behind it, which is just bringing out that tone. It's warming it. What is a blush paper? Well, it's an off-white. So it's not actually a white paper, but it's not actually a coloured paper either. So the pink one is not pink, nor is it white. It's a hint of a tint. It's an off tone. So this has got this beautiful creamy warm tone coming through, so it really stands out from the white background. So I'm getting this really strong visual, and when I pair it with a colour behind, that really works. Now I said from the beginning of the show, and I said in the last show, this is the one set of shows definitely where you need those blush papers, and the reason being is if you take a look at the perfect papers, you'll see that the perfect papers for this collection are divided into tones of cool blue, bluey greens, that kind of thing, but then you've also got your pinks and you've got your naturals. So you can see how those blush papers are going to absolutely perfectly work with these. Then on top of that, your vignettes are also paired with that. So when we're using those blush papers, what you get is a full compositional value. Right, I'm going to go in with my everyday glue.
And the everyday glue and also the glue applicators are on the website if you fancy that. You get 7 bottles of glue, one for every day of the week, but as Carla quite rightly pointed out, it's exactly the same glue in each of the 7 bottles. That's on the website, and the applicators that you always use, Carla, are just great for the detail.
The Carnation ones are slightly different to other applicators that you get on the market, and that's because other applicators have a little ball fuzzy. Carnations have a longer fuzzy. I'll show you what I mean by that in just 1 second. So I'll just turn this round, tiny amounts of glue, place it down, push, push, find your sticking points and commit.
I love that slightly off-white against the bright white behind it.
It makes an incredible difference. Yeah. You wouldn't think it does, but the impact is very, very high. So what I mean by a long fuzzy is that it's got glue on. Just let me remove my glue. So that is a long fuzzy piece, whereas normally it's a ball. And the reason we have the long fuzzy piece is when we're working with Carnation, we work with very, very fine details on here. So the elements that we're using, if I wanted to put glue on this stem, I absolutely could, because I've got that long elongated fuzzy that I can work with. So it does, oh sorry Miss Towers, it does make all the difference. Apologies, she was just doing some very fine camera work and I ruined everything. Right, let's have a look at how we're going to fill this card and how we're going to create the depth that we want. So I want to put a corner piece in there, but I want to put it on those boxes. So I want to raise it up. So first of all, we're going to cut the corner piece that we can use in here.
This is one of the double-sided vignettes.
This is a mirrored vignette.
Absolutely. The mirrored vignettes are free to print off at the website, and that goes for not just the flowers, but all the artwork will have mirrored vignettes. So now if you've got a character, you can have a left side or a right side or a front or a back.
So your vignettes are basically a piece of paper that you've printed, and you've got a black line down the centre. I'm folding it on that black line. I need to make sure that mine's adhered because I don't want it accidentally falling apart. So I'm just going to use some mount spray. You can use wet, no, don't use wet glue. You can use a glue stick. Wet glue is not your best friend with paper. Paper will absorb water and moisture.
Paper is what we recommend, which you'll find on Carnation's website as well, because you get a much vibrant effect. If you're going to use copier paper, you're not going to get a pleasing result. Pro Print's the way to go. Whatever GSM you decide to go for, they'll be on the website for you. And that's Cut Tidy, which we all rave about and love.
Love my Cut Tidy. So just going to pop that in there and pop my die on top. It is best practice at this point to use some low-tack tape on top of here to stop your die from moving. I unfortunately keep leaving mine downstairs. My memory is not great, so I apologise. But it is best practice. If you don't, please do use your thumb to stabilise. You can see my die just moved there. You're trying to stabilise it all the time. Make sure it doesn't slip. Can you see, as we're looking there even, you can see that bleed line going that Nick's given us. You need to keep within the remit of that bleed line in order for it to cut straight and to cut the way you want it to do. If it comes away from your bleed line, so if it moves and it goes to there, for instance, you will have a white shadow around it, which you don't want. So please do try and ensure that it stays the right way. The best way, Miss Taz, can you remind me when I come back upstairs to bring my low tack tape? And that is going to keep it in place.
We'll both try and remember.
I am the worst person to ask.
I know, I've got zero memory, unfortunately. Worse off since I started the menopause. Now my memory is non-existent. It kind of started going when I had children, and then menopause pretty much wiped it out.
I don't know what my excuse is then.
Probably the menopause.
Menopause.
Yours is the menopause, Dave. It's the
Just getting old, basically.
It's a Dave Bradfordism.
It is.
So as this runs through, the compression is going to cut all of those cut lines, that detail that we see in the boards. It's going to cut all of those lines into the die cut. So when I release it from the die, I will get all the detailing that I'm after as far as this is concerned. So on here, I can already see those compression lines. They are already beginning to appear. And as I release the Cut Tidy from there, I can start to see the vivid tones coming through.
And you're not struggling trying to get it out of the die or any bits that get stuck in the die?
Not with Cut Tidy, because it helps.
Hero.
So I've got this beautiful piece that I've just cut straight from the die cutting machine. It is already a sense of magic here. The cut line detail is so precise and so vivid. It is very beautiful. Look at that.
Stunning.
It's here where you see all of these lines going through. They really are extraordinary, aren't they? Just very beautiful. So whenever we're creating, we're always trying to get that detailed lines in. And now that I've got that, I can use the little boxes for it. So where I've got these here, I've already done one. This is one of the strips that we get in the original card shape, the elegant foliage card shape. And in order to use it, we're going to utilize these bits that are dotted and then dimpled on the other side. It's rough, you can feel it. Well, you can't because you're obviously at home. I can feel it. I'm just going to score those through each one.
And this will fold flat when you're putting your card in the post as well, won't it?
It will, yeah. Now, red liner tape is probably going to be your easiest choice. That's going to be your quickest choice. It's going to be an instant stick, and it's going to possibly make your life easier. For the sake of demo, I'll do it with wet glue so everybody can follow those steps. It's not difficult, but you should have a visual for when you get it home. I'm going to piece those pieces together. Now, I'm using wet glue, so it does need just a little time to make sure it's affixed, but once it is, it will fold down flat for postage and pop back up again, so you get that 3D element. I want to use it on that corner piece that I've just cut. So I'm going to have this elevated in my corner. Okay, that's going to rise up and I'm going to be able to seat it down. Now, because of that, I can actually start to create with my corner piece straight away. I'm not going to shape any of this. I want it to sit flat on here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is pop in a little more wet glue. She says, bear with.
Lots of you are watching while at work today. Jolanda says hello from Holland. Nice dies. Hi, Jolanda. Great to hear from you. Joyce Ella says morning, late as usual, working. Shh. Happy New Year, Carla and all. And to you, Joyce.
Happy New Year, lovely.
And Karen Jane Craft says, morning, everyone. Sorry late to the party. I'm watching while I'm working. Beautiful day in Bridgewater and Somerset. We're international.
Don't blame you. Right, so to get these where I want them, I'm just going to get my die to a spot where it hides the mechanism. Now I need them both to be facing the same way, because remember, if you want it to lay flat, they're both going to have to go down at the same time. If I put that one that way, when I try and lay it flat, they won't both go. So you have got to make sure that they are facing in the same direction. And from there, I'm just going to place it and make sure that's tucked in and hidden. And that's going to be my sticking point there. From that point, I get to choose where I want it to be.
What GSM card did you use for the mechanism?
350. Anything that needs any kind of construction, you go for the thickest weight you can get away with. So 350 for construction. This would be considered a construction piece, and so I adhere to those rules. That's going to make my life just that little bit easier. Now I'm putting more wet glue on here than I normally do. Remember, my rule is glue is sticky, but I am creating a construction piece that is going to be manipulated and moved, and therefore I need a stronger sense of stick on it, because it's not, this is the bit that's going to be manipulated by the recipient, by yourself, and in the envelope. So I'm very, very much, you know, strong on the structural part of this. So this is going to stick forward. I'm going to get that beautiful, beautiful shadow relief coming through. Just seated there. Very, very pretty. Now I've got my little love heart piece.
This is so sweet. And remember, with something like this, it's going to be probably visible from behind as well, if it's going on a mantelpiece or a fire surround or what, a coffee table. So to have the mirrored vignette so that it's actually as beautiful on the back as it is on the front is a big deal. Pop
in my little heart just about there so I can just see those little feetsies. And then...
Well, it fits in that aperture perfectly, doesn't it?
It does. It's really beautiful, isn't it? I've got my little bunny, and I'm going to use my bunny and shape him out. There. So I will be quick. Got my ball tools here, choose an appropriate size, working on his bottom and going round. So I'm not going right into the middle and just smushing as we often see happen. Very delicately going around those outside lines so that I'm not breaking any fibres that don't need breaking, and working to a spiral around his haunches and then round his chin line. And then smaller ball tool, just shape out his face, even smaller one for his ears.
And the ball tools you'll find on the website as well. Is it a set of 4?
Yes,
yeah.
4, but you get 8 balls,
yeah.
So they're double-ended. Now that I've got him shaped, he's very domed, which I don't want. So where Nick has put those cut lines in for us that break his body up, I can hold my thumb there, I can push that forward. That's going to give me shape where I've shaped it out, but it will make him less weird looking. And then I can put my thumb there and I can push his head forward. So now I've made sense of my own shaping, and that's going to allow him to just have that lovely definition.
It's really surprising the difference that makes, actually. If you just keep your vignettes flat, they look lovely, but they really come alive when you give them a bit of shape like that.
Just a little bit of dimension and shape, especially when we're working with this much dimension anyway. He's going to be hidden down the bottom here. He's our little surprise, our little visual surprise that we're getting. So I'm just going to make sure his ear is protruding and he's just there. Now I need something to gauge height here, because as much as I love white space, that's too much. So we're going to go in with our blue tit, and he's going to be offset. So I want him looking up here. Remember, we were talking at the beginning, why does it matter? He's not going to be looking at anything, but what he is going to do is visually cut down the white space that I've got, because he's looking somewhere. So the recipient is essentially, without realizing it, what are we looking at? You're building a story in your head. Where is he looking? What are we looking at? So I'll go round with his tummy and into the section there. Smaller ball tool just to work that wing, and his little tail feathers, and then his very beautiful little head. Pull his tail, I mean not literally, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
And then fill him with wet glue, and then I'm just going to do a couple of decoupage elements and we will be done.
Again, it's another collection you're going to have so much enjoyment making, whether you make your cards to sell, which I know lots of you do. Some of you obviously just make them for personal friends and family, that sort of thing. But either way, it's one of those collections. I've never ever seen a bad Carnation collection ever, but there are some that are my favourites, and this is certainly one of my favourites. I think it's down to the card shape and the sophistication of the foliage and the leaves. Beautiful. So that's why I would personally be very tempted to go for the fine leaf card shapes, the circular and the archway, as well as the rectangular one you're getting in the main collection, because they're so beautiful.
So just pulling out those florals, spiral working all the way, so around the edge to the centre. That's going to give me this beautiful cup shape that I'm getting from both of these pieces. Larger ball tool needed for the larger piece, because what we don't want to do is crush our fibres. Now I'm going to go in with the wrecking ball one first. That's going to do my outside pieces, and then I will start to work with the smaller one as I go in, because I really do want some emphasis on the inside. I want it to cup the most. So then once I've got my outside piece, I can change. I've broken the fibres, I can take advantage, and now I can work inwards to my centre point, and then I can take an even smaller ball tool and I can truly work that centre, and that's going to give me this beautiful shaping. So I've got all three florals here which I can now utilise, build and distinguish simply through decoupage. So one here, using that silicone gel to just add that emphasis, that beautiful depth that we're looking for. And I've just picked out a couple of florals to do this with. You don't need it on all. The idea is just that beautiful, pretty little vintage kind of standout that we're looking for. And the last one.
Finishing touch.
On there.
Isn't
and we have something
gorgeous?
Very, very sweet and very, very pretty.
And of course the fine leaf card shapes you can see in the corner there, they are the perfect complement to the main collection, but the card shape you'll get in the main collection is the rectangular one, okay? But isn't that just gorgeous? I mean, everyone loves flowers, everyone I'm sure loves wildlife. The rabbits are really cute, they're not too cartoony. The blue tits, the artwork is so realistic. And remember, Nick and his team actually design all of this. It's all done in the UK, in-house at Carnation, so you know where the artwork has come from, you know the credence that it gets. They allow you to make and sell whatever you choose to make and sell is absolutely fine with them. And the artwork is there free of charge for you to absolutely print off right now. If you buy the collection right now, it's 240101. It's only $89.99, which actually it should be £130. So you're getting a £40 saving. That's what Carla was saying earlier on. You know, the collection is always the best value for money, which is what we want for you. And everything works together so beautifully well. I did get some questions about individual die sets, whether they're available individually. The answer is yes, they will be. But the best value is to buy the collection that gives you everything. That's where you get the biggest discount. And it's also on ClearPay and PayPal Pay in 3 if you want to spread the cost interest-free. That's an option for you as well. But lots of you are going for the perfect papers too, which is basically cardstock, 300 GSM, but in colour combinations that complement the collection's artwork. And that's the key thing, because if you try in your craft room, no matter how many pieces of card you've probably got to try and get a coordinating colour, maybe you've got a bit of colour blindness going on, you're thinking, does that really go? I'm not quite sure if it does or whether it doesn't. This avoids any clashes, any problems or any mistakes, and you're guaranteed to get a fantastic looking card with your mats and layers on this. And just to show you the other card shape, the archway one, done in a different colourway. Vera's done this one for us, for the design team member Vera Bow. Look at that in that beautiful kind of cornflower yellow. It looks almost like corn now rather than leaves, done in that colour. So yep, you can make that archway and the rectangle in any colourway you choose. 240107 if you want to go for these card shapes that are in exactly the same design. So they're different shapes, but they work together so well. 240107 is your item number if you want those extra card shapes. But let's quickly take you on a journey again and remind you of what the design team have done with this fantastic new collection today. And by the way, it's exclusive to us at Carnation Crafts TV at the moment. You can't buy this anywhere else for the time being. So this collection will make really beautiful, elegant, very elaborate cards when you want it to. But also, if you want to keep it clean and simple, very unfussy, you can make stunning, simple cards as well. Barbara Treadwell's done this one. Janine Dawson has done this one. So just taking a couple of the blue tits, putting that little beautiful wreath heart behind it. Sometimes less is more, but then when you want to really go for it, you want to really add all the layers and add all the different elements to it, you can really kind of take it to the next level if you want to, like that one there. I love the fact you've got that three-dimensional mechanism. Love that. And you can use that in so many other collections from Carnation, Carla, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a million ways of using it, isn't it? Wonderful World keeps popping into my head because of all the transportation that's in it. So, you know, your trains and everything else, and how they would really be a beautiful element. Another one that I can think of that it would work super well with would be things like Rural Charm, where we can put the wall forward and we can put the animals behind, or vice versa, which would be extraordinary, wouldn't it? So there's lots of, I mean, literally there's any collection that we've got, so long as the pieces are big enough to stabilize with that piece of block. Perfect.
Sonal Jatwa on Facebook. Hi Sonal. Are the leaf card shapes new dies? Absolutely new today. So yes, they are. So fancy going for them. Absolutely fill your boots. They are there on the website in conjunction with the main collection, obviously.
If you guys have orchard outing at home, you'll remember very much that you get fruit. There's tiny little oranges and apples with that collection, and they would be beautiful used in with those fine leaf shapes. I just think they'd be really pretty. Right, let's have a very quick demo. I will be quick, but we're just going to use this in a slightly different way. And we're going to work on the horizontal up instead of the t'other.
Amanda Spriggs is saying, morning all, love this collection and the beautiful colours. Absolutely, Amanda.
Stunning, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. Right, let's just turn this round so I can get my mats and layers on. So get my push and pull there, try and get that straight so that that goes into place.
I never get fed up of watching you do that.
It's such a habit formed now, I don't know that I'd be able to change it, to be fair. But it works, as a rule. Sorry about the bits of dried glue. It's been stuck to the glass mat there, which has got dried glue on it. Right, making sure that I don't make an Australian card and I have got it at the right axes. I'm just going to place that there. Now I'm still coming in. Look at that.
Love it.
Those blush papers are just... I will not get fed up of that foliage.
No.
I love it.
What other company delivers dies like that? I mean, that's why Carnation are Carnation. They deliver elegant sophistication every single time.
A good 3mm depth on that. So I'm going to lift it so that I get the shadow play. Shadows are free and they are visually very pleasing. So place that down. See how you get that gorgeous shadow play, and so the chunk of that becomes even more visually pleasing. There's something lifted about it as well, so we get even more. Right, let's look at some florals. Now we have looked at those big florals, but let's look at them individually instead of looking at them as one big piece. And I will be quick with these, and I'm going to shape them all out at the same time because I know that demo wise we are running out of time. It's gone awful fast this morning.
It has.
So I'm going to look at my ball tools. I will be fast. Now I do advise you to take a little more time when you're at home than I can take today. But I'm just going to go in. I'm going to work on the spiral on these, just running round and into that centre point.
Neil Lester says, Happy New Year to all the mob at Carnation Crafts.
Hello, Neil.
Hi, Neil.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
So we're working round in those spirals here, just to get that little bowline going on all of them. I'm doming all of them upwards and not downwards, but it is a choice depending what you're doing with the card. And I've paired everything up, so I've got 2 of each so that I can balance the card left to right. Let's bring in some of these beautiful yellows, which we haven't really played with yet. Okay, so that is my floral arrangement. Place all of those down here so I can now arrange as I choose. So the first point of my visual impact is that I want one of these big, bold florals down at the bottom here. So I'm going to place it just about 2/3 below the line, 1/3 on the line, okay? And that's going to give me the balance that I'm looking for. I'm going to use some pin flare. Pin flare, by the way, if you're looking for silicone gel glue, can be found on Carnation's site. Now, what I don't want to do is just do a straight across. What I want to do is a very, very slow smile line. Okay, so I am going to pair this around in a smile, but I don't want it to be a huge circular sweep, just a smile line. So I'm going to work carefully with how I place, and this is where silicone gel glue is going to really help you out.
I suppose if you wanted to, you could snip into the petals and decoupage it.
Of course. There's always, where there's a will, there's a way with Carnation.
And because it's very three-dimensional, that's where the mirrored vignettes really come into their own. If you can see, and if all you saw was white on the back, it just wouldn't look very good.
No. So I'm doing this very flamboyant line of darks, but I'm gonna have to break that up slightly because to me that smile line becomes too dense. So I'm just gonna break it up with some pinks. And so for that, I'm just going to pop them between.
I wonder what part of a collection Nick and his team dream up first, whether it's the card shape, whether it's the flowers, whether it's the characters maybe.
I think that would mean stepping into Nick's head, and I don't think any of us are brave enough to go there, or daft enough, depending which way you look at it. It would be a strange, strange place to be.
I don't know if it would be, though, because he comes up with some amazing designs.
It'd be a very confusing world. Have you seen how intelligent the bloke is?
How what?
How intelligent the bloke is.
Oh, yeah.
I'd switch off after 5 minutes because I guarantee you there's a lot of numbers in there somewhere. Right, let's put some yellow in. I'm just going to piece those on top of here. If ever you get the chance to meet Nick, just nod a lot because he just knows everything about everything, right? And then we're going to put some greens in. And I'm going to do this with some wet glue. Place that behind those pinks, so I'm still breaking up the colours. And I'm creating this very, very pretty smile line of composition. And all my colours are just pretty, and it's a bouquet. And not once have I touched that big main floral die here. These are the small pieces that come with it.
It does make a big difference adding the other colours in, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's just impact. I'm just going to take these, one at either side, just to brush this shape out. That's going to slot there. So now I've created a stage. And of course, we will need a little show bunny.
And remember, Carnation's thank you to you for purchasing is that you get all this amazing artwork free. It always stays on Carnation's website. It doesn't disappear after a few weeks or months. Always there. So whether you want to print off 100 sheets in one go, whether you want to do it a sheet at a time is entirely up to you.
So just taking the time, I really want to just make the most of his lovely tummy because it's the loveliest little shape. You can see there's so much love. To his little cheek, his ears.
He's got a tummy rather like Herbie the Beagle in our house after Christmas turkey.
Just
a third of the turkey.
Corny would have if he'd have had the... Actually, Corny wouldn't. Corny doesn't actually... He's not very food motivated, isn't Cornelius? Bless him.
Herbie is.
I did put a cone of shame on Corny yesterday. He was not happy at all. Right. I'm going to tuck him behind those flowers just so that his little feet... And look how sweet he is.
Wow.
That's a really quick, simple card.
I mean, that as an Easter card, fantastic. But really, you know, the elements on there, apart from the rabbit, there's nothing else Easter about it. But it will be a perfect Easter card with the bunny there. That cute little pose with his paws up, really, really sweet. And just to show you how the fantastic perfect papers can really make the difference between a card that's great and a card that's fantastic. Vera Bowes used the pink from the perfect papers for the mats and layers, and you do get different shades of pink, a lighter and a darker shade of pink, and there's the birthday card, that one. This next one is an engagement card, and you are getting the word engaged as well, which isn't something that you normally see in sentiment dies very often, but isn't that just gorgeous? Again, it's not risen, this one. Well, it is risen, but not on the actual mechanism, so it stays as it is. But if you put the mechanism there, that engage would literally pop out even more. You've got the word love on this one. Remember, the words that you've got are love, celebrate. You've got also love, celebrate, birthday, engaged. Enjoy. Thank you, Taz. I'm looking at it from the back. There we go. So there it is at the front. And of course, when you're putting that into an envelope and posting it, that will lie perfectly flat. I just love this collection, I really do. If you've ordered it, congratulations. Carnation are brilliant. As soon as you place your order, someone picks it, packs it and posts it straight away. So if you've ordered it this morning or you're ordering it now, I think the postman arrives about 2 o'clock. So if you order it in the next show as well, it should be out hopefully this afternoon. You should get it, if not tomorrow, the day after. But what you can get your hands on right away is, of course, the fantastic vignettes, the artwork. That's what we call the artwork for all of these dies. The vignettes are, if you go to carnationcrafts.co.uk, go to downloads, and then click free downloads. You'll see there's backing papers that will tonally work with the artwork for this as well. They're free. And of course, all the artwork for the characters and everything else is there for you to print off right away. Now, when we started the show, 40% of the stock had gone.
Nearly 50.
Nearly 50% of the stock, nearly half stock gone. Very busy show indeed. We're going to be back with more live at 1 o'clock this afternoon. So any questions, join us on Facebook, join us on YouTube, and just kind of put your questions there and we can answer them hopefully for you. But this is the first launch of our collections for 2024. We do 2 every single month. And of course, Carla and I are together here on Carnation Crafts TV twice a month to do the launches for you. But of course, there are lots of other shows as well. So if you are on Facebook or on YouTube, subscribe, and then you'll never miss a show going forward. But we're off for a jacket spud.
Aye.
And we'll see you back here live at 1 o'clock this afternoon.